Hey, here's some Bangerology for you. This is also by request to help you play all the bangers and stuff that I post on here or that you watch somewhere else. So if you're having, it was specifically in regards to any tips on bar chords. So the best tip is don't avoid them. Like a lot of people starting out, to just avoid any song with the bar chord because they suck when you're first starting out. You got to be great to start, but you got to start to get great. So practice them. Some simple tips you can do is, like, if you YouTube this, you'll probably find how to keep your elbow in, because a lot of people are focused more on the grip and they're straining a lot, but this kind of helps you naturally put the weight on your hand. And then also look at the chord. All right, so a bar chord, you're barring all the strings with one hand, technically. All right, on a fret. And then if you're using from the sixth string down, barring across, and you make an E major shape with your other three fingers, you have a major chord. So these three fingers are pressing strings down too. So technically, these three, you don't have to worry about bar. So you can kind of get away with barring these down here with this part of your finger and just kind of pressing on that one, because you got the E major shape in the middle taking care of the other ones. It's the same thing. So concept. Also kind of using this ridge of your finger versus the meaty part to help out a lot too. And then something to consider if you're like a newbie beginner and you bought the cheapest guitar you could. Sometimes they have a really high action on them. So the action is like the space of your string the space in between your fretboard and your string. So it can be high. Most people who play regularly or higher end guitars are going to have a nice action on them. Lower. I've never seen people prefer high actions unless they're like flamenco or mariachi players. The classical guitars sometimes have higher actions. People do a lot of finger picking, but the cheaper end guitars kind of come like wonky like that, and you can adjust that. Use a truss rod. People tell you, go like, hey, you're gonna need to get a professional to set it up, but like, I think you should learn kind of how to do it. You're not gonna hurt it unless you just whine the crap out of it, or if it feels wrong, it probably is wrong. So, but you can kind of play with it to see. I've never done that on this one, but got to start somewhere. And also, so just because it has a bar chord in it on the song, sometimes you can get away with just the F 3-finger power chord if the emphasis isn't really on those low strings. And then if you real hack here, you can turn it into an open chord. So keep your fingers where the bar chord needs to be, but instead of barring at the top right there, you just bar those two strings, and now you have an open chord that's pretty much the same bar chord. It might be easier for some than barring starting off. It's a cheater's method. I'd say still practice your bar chords, and then to practice to get better at them, instead of just incorporate a song, just sit there and make E major, E minor shape, and go from the root on the sixth string to the fifth string, and just move up and down the neck, make it E minor, E major shapes starting out. And then a little, not too much music theory. Most guitarists, some people would tell you to memorize every note on the string. I would at least recommend memorizing the E string and the chromatic scale of musical alphabet, because that'll help you a lot. At least learn the dots. So this is F, G, that dot's A, that's B, C is a half step up from B. If you know the chromatic, it doesn't have a sharp. So learn that, and so you have G, A, and B right there, and C. Half step is 1 fret, in case you didn't know that. A whole step is 2 frets. So like from G to A is a whole step. So that here's G, 1, 2. That's A. And then on the fifth string, so you got G, A, B right there. All right. if you go down here for root on the fifth string, right where G was, you got C, D, E. So G, A, E, C, D, E. And that's a handy little trick, just knowing those chords for multiple reasons. One, if someone's playing this G, you can kind of give a different voice playing the extra, just to kind of change the dynamics of it. But that's about all the tips and tricks I have for that. You got the cheater's method, practice your E major, E minor shapes. Oh, another fun tip there. If your root is on the sixth string barred and you're making an E major shape, you have a major chord. If you make an E minor chord, you have a minor chord. Now, if you go with your root on the fifth string down, it's the opposite. Now that's a major, and then when you put your E major shape there, you get that minor third back. So minor on the root on the sixth, root on the fifth, E major, or E minor, E major. It's the opposite. So all the way down. So you know you have multiple major and minor chords that you know just from learning the chromatic alphabet on the neck and bar chords. But just practice those. And if you don't want to do that one, you can always bar. That's the same chord, just a different voice. Bar chord. So B major, B major, both B majors. All right, like, follow, comment, share. Hope that helped. Jam out.